Today I've come to the Victoria and Albert Museum in central London to meet Sotheby's expert Nicolas Chow, the international head of Chinese ceramics and works of art. And we're going to immerse ourselves briefly in the complex and rich world of Chinese decorative art and design. My name's Tim Marlow. I've spent my career working with some of the most renowned visual artists in the world, but I'm no expert when it comes to the other collectible objects that make for a stylish life. For this series, I'll be learning from those unrivaled specialists at Sotheby's, and together we'll be taking a crash course through some of the most amazing collections in the world. So Nicolas, we begin with this beautiful but curiously modest object.
Well, this is probably the most revered type of ceramic that was ever produced in China. It's known as Rue Web, and it's aesthetically very, very understated. The focus is really on the form and on the color. Now, what is important about Rue Web is that it's the first imperial ware, because before that, during the Song dynasty, the court used ceramics, but they bought them or they acquired them from different kilns all around China that produced also for the people.
This wasn't for the people though.
So this is absolutely not for the commoner. No one would have had access to this particular ware. This was a kiln that was set up in the late 11th century to produce wares specifically for the use and for the use only of the emperor. I would say the corpus of extant Rue ware only amounts to around 70 pieces, most of them in Beijing, in Taipei, and some of them in the British Museum.
Okay, if this, I know this isn't normally what we do, but I have to ask you this. If this particular piece, or something like it, came on the open market, what kind of price would you expect it to fetch?
It's difficult to say, but I would expect at least 10 to 20 million pounds.
Now, the second piece that you've chosen it's a beautiful piece. What have we got though? It's a flask.
This kind of large moon flask, they're very few in the world. They were actually sometimes given to the sort of Ottoman Empire, Safavid Empire as gifts, tribute gifts, exchanges.
So they had a decorative function more than an actual function? Or were they used at table?
Difficult to tell, but I mean, given the weight of the flask, empty, it's, it's actually not really fun to pour anything out of it. So I would think probably mostly decorative. I mean, this particular piece, there are only about 7 other examples known. Very, very few around the world, and from the ones I've seen, this is the one that has fired to the best color.
So Nicolas, this is jaw-droppingly elaborate and detailed.
This is really the most spectacular piece of Chinese lacquer that you'll find anywhere in the world.
It's that important?
It's that important. No, this is really one of my most favorite pieces in the world.
Let's just explore lacquer work, because I think people just think it's, as I did, it's a form of glaze. It comes from the sap of a particular tree, but it's a little more than just that. How does that process?
Yes, well, it's in order to render an object impermeable so that it lasts much longer. Basically, the wooden core of the piece, it's made actually out of wood, the structure, then it's covered with layers, very thin layers of lacquer.
How many coats are we talking about?
We're talking about a minimum of 100 coats, it could be more. So to build the base of the table, it would take you already a year or more. Of course, then you have to carve it, so that's another, I don't know, probably a year or 2 or 3.
What about collectors now? Top-end collecting and new collectors, where are they coming from?
Well, the new blood in our market mostly comes from mainland China, although we still have a healthy sort of amount of new collectors still rising in Hong Kong, Taiwan, all across Asia, but I would say in terms of the sheer amount of people coming in, pouring into the market, wanting to buy Chinese art, that impetus comes from China.
For me, it's the little bowl holder of the 3. They're all exquisite.
I'm afraid that there's nothing that I can offer you of that particular ware, but
keep me in mind.
Okay.
Nicolas, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim.